You know, it's been said, for the purposes of this intro, that making a movie is the act of painting a thought across the screen, which adds a special challenge to Christian movie makers whose thoughts tend to be really, really short. And that leaves us with a lot of tiny little Christian flicks that wouldn't fit into our sister show God-Awful Movies, but are still too God-awful to ignore, which is why we're presenting another edition of
God-Awful Minis.
So tell us, Heath, what will we be breaking down today?
We watched In the Arms of Angels. It's the story of how God is a manipulative sociopath who has Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Yep.
And that's why he's the best.
But lazily, though. Yeah, so Eli, how bad was this mini?
Well, if you love hearsay, but you hate when things happen, you will love this mini.
It's rare that we watch a film where I'm like, I'm surprised they got a full 11 minutes out of this. Yeah. All right, so is there anything you guys want to nominate this one for being the best at being the worst at?
No.
All right, it's a mini, so we'll do a mini version of the best worst. I got one. How about MacGuffin? Okay, this movie is propelled forward by the unquenchable desire for unwashed tree cum.
It is. It is. I'm going to go with best worst Breakfast Club clothes. The protagonist of this movie gets the saddest goddamn postscript you have ever. I've thought about it 100 times since I watched this thing. How empty a life must have been.
Yeah, right. For that to be all you had
what
to
they
say.
said about her.
All right. So we're going to start this off with the bullshit combination of words that follows. It says on screen, "This is a true story." And then in much smaller font, "taken from Pioneer accounts."
Well, it's true. Well, I mean, this guy said it was a true
This
story.
is a true claim.
Yeah. William Barr read the story and said it's true.
Yeah, so we open up on some rocks falling into the water.
Yeah. And one of those like, life is falling rocks.
Yeah.
Life is, I'm just going to stop you right there. It's going to be stupid, whatever you say when you try to say life. Life is gravity. Great. Go. Just do your movie.
Don't say the thing on the screen.
No. Please. Just please. And then the narrator says, "Learning obedience might be life's hardest lesson of all." Guess the gender of the narrator that said that. Everybody guess. Gender.
Non-binary?
Also, not if your Dom is clear on pre and after care, okay?
Right.
So, like, if be real about that.
All right, so we see this little slow motion landslide, and just at the end of it, we see a basket in it. That's pretty scary. Then we cut to the American West in 1885.
America is great right now.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we're shooting for. And of course, because it's 1885, we open on wood chopping.
Well, kind of. They could not get a single shot of anybody on their set actually chopping one piece of wood.
Nope.
We went extreme close up every time it was time for, and I think that was the same shot of a splitting log that we saw like 4 times.
It's so bad. And there's a little kid off to the side just bothering the dad who's supposed to be chopping wood, just being like, Dad, why can't you ever chop the wood with your body in the frame?
Kid's a wood voyeur. I wanted to know where that was going. He's just like, oh, chop that wood, Dad. Chop it. Chop it.
I've been there.
Yeah.
My dad was so much better at chopping wood than me for a while. It took me so long to get good at it.
You are much better at chopping wood than him now, though.
I am. That's true. Maybe. I don't know. He might still be weirdly good at that. It's very possible he has this weird muscle memory that supersedes stroking. Yeah.
Spaghettiing around with an axe. He's just got to put him in.
Very possible.
All right, so the kid's bothering Dad, though, because it's almost time for them to go get gum off of the trees, and that's the, in their own words, most exciting day of the summer.
Woof.
It's fucking sap time. Let's do this. Sap day. What?
Yes. Well, because you see, they get to leave the work behind for that day.
And and collect sap in buckets for hours.
Well,
Not
that's
work.
yes, yeah,
Sap in
dude.
buckets collection.
Different work
time.
for those hours.
Yeah. Also, they describe it as the chewing gum for the year. Is that a real thing they would do back in the day? Would they chew tree sap as gum?
I guess.
I feel like that would be good. I mean, you don't have to chew gum. Like you can just chew food only, and that works.
No, they show her picking some of it off the tree, and I wrote in my notes, okay, that's the grossest thing I've ever seen someone intending to chew, and I watch porn.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. But, okay, so here's the thing. She's really excited to go pick tree cum, but Dad tells her that she has to stay home this time around because Mom's pregnant and can't take care of the toddler. So she has to do it.
And she loses her mind. She hangs herself like a goddamn Stoneman Douglas kid. She is out.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Goes bananas on this. She wanted to go booger picking.
What?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to edit in where Eli said that.
I liked when he told her to stop. Like she's taking like that gross stuff off a tree, and he's like, Belle, her name's Belle. And he's like, Belle, that's cum. Like, how many times do I have to tell you that's the cum tree? All the other ones it's similar. I get it, but that one is the cum tree.
I'll put a flag.
Indistinguishable.
Yeah, put a flag. I thought we agreed you would put a flag.
All right, but yeah, so she has to stay home and watch her little brother, and she's really sad that she's going to miss the tree cum picnic, so she decides to take her little brother with her, and she's now. Keep in mind, the family left on a horse-drawn carriage hours ago. She's going to catch up with them with the toddler now.
So I decided to take a toddler on a dangerous hike where he'd clearly get almost killed, but saved by God. Or something like that.
Exactly, right. That was the plan. And they take a shortcut through the dangerous, scary place.
And, this hill... They're trying to make it look scary. You could murder a Roman soldier on that thing. Let me tell you right now.
All sideways.
It's so dumb. They're trying to make it sound all dangerous at first. It's like, all right, we took a shortcut through Death Trap Gully.
Yes.
There's Death Valley. We got Death Trap Gully. It's similar. There's a flame quagmire, a fire swamp, a flame quagmire.
I'm not misspeaking. Please listen.
Above average stature. There's be a dick.
Yeah, so they cut through Death Trap Gully, and she's going like the narrator's going like, Dad always told us to avoid the fuck out of this place. And then they come upon the place, and it's just this rolling glen, just kind of a lovely little lake.
I'm just saying, it's supposed to be a rock slide. Now, look. I didn't Google whether or not rock slides are real, but I haven't been outside in a very long time. Yeah.
Sorry, you're not sure still at this very moment whether it's real that rocks can slide downwards?
That is correct.
Okay.
But I don't believe it.
He's not a gravity denier. He's just asking questions.
I don't feel it in my heart that rocks slide.
But yeah, that's real, first of all, Eli. And the point is, that their path, they come upon a part of the path being blocked by a recent rock slide. But it's not dangerous either. It's this, again, like you said, it's this beautiful pond. And she's just like, the path was blocked by a good deal of pebbles. There's
a lot
pebbles here.
Lot of pebbles.
Tens of pebbles.
Yeah, but she just says she's going to navigate this rock slide anyway. And they last a good 2 steps before everything goes to shit, right?
Yeah. She's just like, all right, this is going well. I'm just going to pull on this linchpin right here. Fuck! Yeah. And apparently if any of the rocks move in the lower area, an avalanche begins.
Yeah, right.
Like the Mayans rigged a trap for Indiana Jones next to this lovely pond.
Yeah, so they start falling down, but luckily she can speed pray. So she speed prays and tells God that she'd rather not get killed by rocks and promises not to disobey her dad if God doesn't kill her with rocks. And God thinks to himself, well, you're not going to disobey him if I do kill you with the rocks either. You know, I mean, just like, to be clear, I get that one way or the other.
Yeah. And she says, I mean, she does speed pray, but it's also a serious, heartfelt speed prayer.
Well, right,
for
right.
not dying. It's not one of those half-assed, don't kill me if you get a chance type prayers.
Passive aggressively texting God, hey, just a quick poke about this.
Did
If I ever
we
tell-
land on you killing me or not killing me in the last meeting? Can you read back the notes?
Yes,
I
but
could search for it if we use Slack.
But the important thing is, she prayed not to die. She didn't die, and that meant that God was real. So
Yeah.
she decided she would always be Christian from that day forward.
Yeah. And she says that God or God's angels picked him up out of the avalanche and set him back down on the path, but not on the path that they were going to go to the sap party, on the path leading back home.
Yes.
It was one of those one-way paths.
I really wanted her to try again. She's like, all right, obvious time to go. So save me again. I got it. Sam, I got it. Sorry. My bad.
Yeah, but so she was pretty stoked about this miracle of falling down without dying. So she decided, and she even says, and I decided never to say anything about this to anyone, which I clearly fucked up on since you're watching this. But then we get a scene like she's like, you know, I decided I'd always do whatever my dad told me from now on. And then we get a little montage of her doing what dad told her, right?
Just sitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Still.
Well, sitting in church. Yeah, in a time when church was even worse than it is now, apparently.
What was happening there? Apparently, women did lots of beekeeper work on the side all the time. It was crazy. It was like Handmaid's Tale, but all the women were super old. So like,
Yeah.
and fucking bees instead of rich people. I don't know what they were going for.
Be the doily, Edith. Be the doily.
Praise be.
All right, but so she served on a lengthy mission trip,
Thank you.
and by the time she comes back from the mission trip, Joe, her little brother that fell down the time with her that she didn't die, had moved away, and Dad wanted to have a very important talk with her. So Dad sits her down and he says, so, hey, were you and Joe ever falling down a rock slide and a couple of angels showed up and yanked you back onto the path or something like that? And she's like, oh my God, that's so what happened?
Crazy. I wanted Dad to be like, oh, you never mentioned the angels? It's 1885. Do you know how boring my life is? You didn't tell me about the fucking angels. Do you know what story?
Excited about tree sap here, lady.
Do you know what story I have told whenever I have had a story to tell? That time the cow almost looked at me. That was the story. I'm going to die in 6 minutes.
I'm married to like an 85-year-old beekeeper over there. I look like Waluigi for some reason. You got to tell me stories. This is not going well.
I don't even know how you
Any
were
story.
conceived. Tried to make you a younger brother 4 times. Got a fold. Just a cloth fold.
So Dad tells, and by the way, this actor speaks entirely through his nose, which is quite distracting. So the dad tells Belle about when Joe had a terrible fever, and in his delirium, he told Dad the story of the angels saving them from the pebble slide back in the day.
Yeah. And Dad's like, well, this is canon. During a violent, fevery rant, he said angels saved you from a rock slide. That must be accurate. That's what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those reliable memories that goes away with the disease.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. No, because he says that. He's like, Dad's like, oh, but then, I asked Joe about it after the fever, and he forgot he ever said it.
Yeah. And she confirms it. She's like, yeah, it's true. Sorry, I lied about that. And he's so excited. He's like, this confirms it. This is great. God's protecting us. It's awesome. We're never gonna die. So let's test this. Chops his arm off. Fuck. Okay.
Hold on a second.
Really thought I was gonna do a big impactful demo there. Normally, I'm not good at actually chopping things. That's weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, man. I was in the frame though. That's kind of miraculous. Yeah, but then there's this weird moment where she gets like really jealous of Joe for getting to see the angels, whereas she just felt lifted.
Yeah. Turns out angels are invisible if you're the one who almost kills a toddler.
Right? Yeah, right.
the
No,
rule.
that's where she lands.
They still save you, but they're like passive aggressive invisible angels at that
Yes.
point. I don't know.
Casey Anthony gets to heaven. It is empty up here.
All right, so now it's time to wrap things up. She goes, I felt lifted by angels a lot in my life, but that day was the most significant time that God ever intervened. And I'm like, wow, feels like you're arguing on our side now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't?
Anyway, God is real. Just thought I'd...
Yeah, because one time I fell down and didn't die. Bye. Yeah.
Bye. The end of movie.
Right. Then we get a couple of Bible quotes. We get Matthew 18:10, which I paraphrased as "Don't rape kids; they might be angels."
Yeah. This is where we get the Breakfast Club close, which is the saddest thing in the world.
Yes.
Belle Richards went on to write many beautiful poems. No, she did not. I found her book. It is not good. And she wrote one of them. It was, and it's bad.
She went on to play Scrabble by herself in the dark while drinking whiskey.
Yeah, and that's somehow literally all the story had to offer. Somebody came across that account and said, oh my God, this needs to be seen, not just read. And they continued to think that all through the process of realizing how much money this would cost, which is the kind of stupidity that ensures we're always going to be able to promise more god-awful minis to come. But until then, we're going to leave you with a much happier, or at least better, Breakfast Club close.
Joe ended up marrying a Jewish lady and went to hell. It was too bad God didn't let him get killed in that rock slide.
Belle eventually discovered masturbation and doesn't mind being left behind on Tree Sperm Day anymore.
Most people don't die of fevers anymore, thanks to vaccination.
Go science.
Belle traveled the world starting avalanches. It was super fun.
Trying to catch a glimpse of an
No,
angel.
look, watch. I won't die. I won't die. Trust me.
Oh, she's the Mr. Glass of Angels. Much better movie.